What's up, everyone? Welcome to the most positive pop culture podcast in the universe, Metalcore Nerds, the podcast that features members of your favorite bands as we explore their love of pop culture. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and this week I'm joined by Mike of CKY. Welcome to the show.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Very stoked to have you here. Very stoked to get into what you like to consume.
Coffee and movies.
That's
in
the best
that
answer.
order.
That's the best answer anyone could have ever given. That's great. Incredible. Now, whether you're returning to the show or a first-time listener, thank you so much for tuning in. Best way to support the show, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment, let us know what you watch, what you're thinking of the episode. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting platform, also subscribe there. Hit that 5-star review. Helps the podcast continue to grow, helps more people find the show. If you want our daily fix of Metalcore Nerds, you can find us on all social media at Metalcore Nerds. Now, I want to kind of connect the CKY to the pop culture of it all, because obviously CKY has been a massive staple in various different realms of pop culture. And I was listening to you on the Riff Tacos podcast and how you were talking about how it's so cool that you like grew up like idolizing CKY and now you're in CKY. So I'm excited to hear your perspective on this. And now, whether it's the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack, whether it was the CKY DVDs, which eventually obviously turned into Jackass and turned into Viva La Bam. What is your favorite CKY pop culture moment?
Well, it's funny that you said CKY DVDs, because when I found the band, I don't even think DVDs were a thing yet, because the first time I ever had like a piece of my first CKY anything was CKY 2K on a VHS tape. CKY 2K on OG VHS. And that's what started it for me. And that was before Jackass or before any of the Tony Hawk stuff. But as a CKY fan, like when they were growing still, I think it was really cool to see them go from like the CKY 2K stuff onto Jackass, onto like a syndicated television show. And as a fan, it was like my favorite band was getting this crazy opportunity and like a breakthrough, breakout moment. And for me, that was like really cool to watch that. And then again, I guess it kind of happened again when Viva La Bam came out too. Like both of those moments were like, holy shit, my favorite band is like getting tons of exposure. And that's awesome.
It's cool because I feel like that was a thing very much in like the 2000s and the 90s. And I think it kind of went away for a while for these kind of like alt bands to be featured in these like massive pop culture things. And I think it's now turning around where that stuff is happening again. I think it's really cool to see. But I think CKY kind of like set a weird precedent with that kind of stuff because of what they were doing at the time was kind of crazy. And it's so funny because it's really crazy.
Super crazy, yeah.
I remember owning the CKY DVDs when I was a kid, and that kind of like was pretty formative for me because obviously I went on to love Jackass and Viva La Bam and everything like that. But I remember even having the realization that like, oh, Bam Margera, his brother's in CKY. Oh, that's crazy. And like, putting those pieces together when you're a kid is so cool. And it's so wild that they've been like engrossed with this stuff from not from the jump, but for a very, very long time.
Truly, from the jump. I mean, like, it was all super synonymous for their path. It was like, the skateboarding culture, the music culture, kind of how they sew themselves together. Like you can't have one without the other. So it was very synonymous.
Yeah, I think I tried skateboarding when I was a teenager. I was not good at it at all. And then I got into playing guitar and that worked out a lot better for me. But but that was like right in line, it was like music skateboarding. It's like all of my friends loved CKY and Jackass and kind of tried to emulate some of that stuff. Not as crazy, but still did some pretty dumb stuff, which I'm sure all of us did as a teenager that watched that stuff. You put yourself in a shopping cart and run yourself into a bush or some other whatever dumb shit that you think you can do and pull off.
I've got the scars to tell the stories too. Same thing. My shins are destroyed from skating and chopping karting, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely have some nice road rash from trying to take hills that I could not take on a skateboard. That was definitely, it was like a yearly thing. I'm like, I can take this hill. I never could take the hill. I always fell going way too fast. You get the wobbles and then it's game over.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
That is how you learn. So moving on to like pop culture, movie and TVs as a whole, what was kind of the inciting incident that kind of made you fall in love with that space when it comes to movies?
Well, back then there was a different kind of direction with the band, and it was very heavily like horror influenced. And my dad is a pretty big scary movie buff. He always was like, he'd always be like, let's go see this one. And there was a lot of like horror movies in the house back then. So it kind of was like an easy transition, because I was like, oh, they dig horror movies and I dig horror movies. So I thought that part of it was pretty cool. I think maybe that kind of helped. But, obviously it was the music that took hold and really like sunk its teeth in. And it was like when I found the band, I was obsessed with it off the first note. I was like always looking for bands that didn't sound like other bands. And to me, CKY, it's still that band and always been that band. And that was really important, like the horror influence, the very unique sound of the music itself. It was, I was helpless, I got obsessed with it.
Is there any particular horror movie you remember seeing when you were a kid being like, oh, this is for me?
Yeah. I'd say probably my favorite horror movie of all time would be Bram Stoker's Dracula. I literally have the castle like tattooed on my leg. I love that fucking movie so much, with like Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing and Keanu Reeves as the little, I forget he was like a real estate agent. You know the one, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman as Dracula. Fucking
yep.
Sick, dude. Like that's my favorite movie.
That's so awesome. I try and see what bands do on tour as far as movies. Do you ever catch movies on tour? Is that like an off day thing or not really?
Yeah. Last night, well, the past 2 nights, I got schooled on Spinal Tap, because you'd always seen like clips of it. Obviously, it's like super fucking like a necessity to watch as a musician. And I've always seen clips, but I don't remember watching the first one from start to finish. We watched the second one, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. And so he was like, "You got to watch the first one." So we all watched both last night and the night before, and goddamn, it's just so accurate, like how that movie depicts touring and being in a band. So like watching it with the boys, it's just like, yep, that goes up. Yep, look, the girlfriend's the manager now. Like classic, all of like the tour band isms, they just nailed it, and they nailed it 40 years ago, and all those things still happen every single day. So like, yeah, it's cool to watch, movies with the boys on the road. I've always, play the show, maybe watch a movie, or there's a lot of downtime during the day. So you can always catch a flick while you're driving and stuff like that. And I think it's really fun to watch it with the band guys too, because it's like a fun, like team building exercise. Everybody's fucking cracking up and cracking jokes. It's sick.
That's awesome. Yeah. I haven't caught the new Spinal Tap yet. Dude. I don't think it was in theaters very long. I think it was like just barely in at all. Because I definitely want to watch that.
You definitely need to watch it. Like, I thought it was fucking hilarious, man. It was really cool to see like how it became what it is now.
Yeah, it's always cool to see kind of these legacy sequels happen that definitely don't need to happen, but usually when something like that comes about, it's for a good reason, and they make it because they had a good idea to make it. It's like Spaceballs 2 is coming out, or like they're starting for this year and next year. Yeah, like they got like the whole team, everyone's coming back, which that's I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then they probably have a really great idea in order to bring it back, because like the box office landscape is so weird nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in a world where they made Happy Gilmore 2 for some reason. So I guess the sequels are in, I guess.
Yeah, I guess sequels have always been in, and it's a weird thing where it's, like I said, when it's something like that where it hasn't been made for like 40 years, they made one movie and they haven't touched it, and then it comes back. 9 times out of 10, there's a good reason for it, and the creators or whoever was involved had this idea to make it work, because that's either going to hit or miss super hard. It's a lot of people that watched that were adults then, 40 years ago. That's a long time. They're probably not going to the movies anymore. So you kind of got to catch this weird in between audience.
It's weird, dude.
And old people.
Yeah, like usually a sequel's done within like 5 years of the first, and it's all still kind of fresh. But like 40 years later, for sure, like Spinal Tap, they nailed it. But the Happy Gilmore maybe is that 1 out of 10 That didn't hit so hard, right?
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either, only because I haven't watched the original in so long, and I wanted to watch both, and I just haven't got. And Netflix, I say this like probably every week, but most things on Netflix that happen, they're just there, they're gone, and I forget about them, and I never go back to it.
That's
And
the
that's
culture we
usually what
live in,
happens.
dude. It's just like short attention spans, you know?
Yeah, and it's
They're just pumping
I'm
stuff out all the time.
exactly, and especially on that streamer, like everything's just there, gone, forgotten. See ya. Besides, like maybe two things that like hit the zeitgeist and blow up, or
Right.
whatever. But everything else is doing everything weekly, and those are in the conversation for 2 months if you're a TV show, or even. I mean, I guess most streaming movies don't really do anything for anyone. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
really hard to be a streaming movie and actually like break through everything else that's going on when there's like 5 really good TV shows happening at once. So it's like almost impossible to like, hey, I'm gonna put this movie out and hope it
Yeah.
hits
What
somewhere, you know?
What's crazy now too is that, I'm from a time where you used to have to watch like a show, one episode per week, and you'd be like, stay tuned
Yep.
next week for the finale or the conclusion, part two. And it's like nowadays you're going to get a new TV show. It's going to have 10 1 hour long episodes, and it's like it's a 10-hour movie basically. And the whole binge watching thing is like this new thing. And there goes your day, if that's what you're going to do. What else are you going to do in a day if you're watching 10 hours of a TV show?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's dying because like I said, everything else is switched
Mm.
to weekly. Like event TV is it's not the same as it was, for sure. I don't think it's ever going to be the same because of just how things are nowadays. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot more shows that are like, nope, we're just doing weekly and deal with it.
Yeah, that's how the new Dexter kind of rolled out that way too, and Squid
Yep.
Games too. That they're doing like little clusters. So it's like
Parts,
you get
yeah.
just get like your mouth watering, and then they're like, "Hold up, you got to wait 2 weeks," and everybody's like, "Ah." Building anticipation is important because then you really like. I don't know about you, but when I watch something that I'm really like interested in, if it's super intense, like I'll watch it and then I'll think about it for like several hours afterwards. Like, damn, my wife and I just rewatched Better Call Saul, and I'm like so entrenched in the storyline that it's like an episode ends and we're like, damn, we'll like eat dinner and watch one, and then like while I'm washing the dishes, I'm thinking to myself like, damn, how did Jimmy get himself into that situation? And it's like total not real fictional character, and I'm thinking about it like, damn, that sucks that Kim got fired from her job, and it's just so weird, But I think that is a testament to like a good show. You should be able to take it with you, and it should like affect you, and I don't know, make an impression. What a
That's one of my
concept.
favorite things when like I go to a movie with a group of friends or something is like the drive home talking
Hmm.
about the movie.
Yeah,
It's
because you're
my
still
favorite thing.
buzzing, and it's like fresh, and everybody's like, "Oh, you remember this part? Oh, when they said that, yeah." I think that's
It's,
cool.
it's the best. I love Better Call Saul
Yeah,
so much.
such a sick
I
movie.
hot take. I think it might be better than Breaking Bad, even by
Well,
like the tiniest amount. I don't know. I watched it. I think I went through and just after it was all out, I just went through and watched all of it at once.
mm,
It kind of like binge watched it over like a few months. And I also, yeah, same thing. I just got sucked in, and I did not think I would get sucked in at all.
it's a
Like I was
super
like,
cool
who
like
needs this show?
storyline. Yeah,
Yeah,
it does
and
that
it's
to
like,
you. It's very like entrenching. It puts you there with them, and you do have a hot take. I love both, but after watching both now, I will say Breaking Bad got so intense because it's such a like fantastical situation and like something that normal people can't even fathom. At one point, I literally was like about to have a panic attack and I had to turn it off. That never happened with Better Call Saul. So for that reason, Breaking Bad for me is just that little touch more because I was just like, it's just crazy when you put these crazy situations into somebody like a regular person's life, and it's just like they're right on that precipice of getting caught, and there's all that anxiety and there's all that
mm,
stress, and it's just like they really conveyed it well in that show. And I was like holding my breath when intense things were happening and I wouldn't realize it, and then the scene would break and I'd be like, like that's a testament of a really killer show. Good writing.
Oh yeah, Vince Gilligan is one of the best ever, ever. I think a thing of what Better Call Saul is why I think it has a little bit of a leg up for me at least is that it is kind of like the close of the franchise. Like the
Mhm.
end of that show is really the end of the Breaking Bad universe. Like it really like the last
Yeah.
season is like the true epilogue to that
Yeah,
series.
after the
And
El
I think that's
Camino movie and
beautiful.
everything. It's weird how they rolled
Yeah.
that out, and I feel like they kind of rushed the last seasons. It's like there's just one episode where it's like I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I feel like they rushed it, and then the epilogue was like the last 3 or 4 episodes, and you're supposed to stop at episode 9 of season 6, Better Call Saul, watch all of Breaking Bad, El Camino, and then come back to the epilogue
Yeah.
of season 6, which is it's heavy, but it is cool. It's like a nice closure, the final chapter of the book, and you can finally like put it to rest because Breaking Bad ends with so many questions. You're like, well, what about this guy, this guy, this guy?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was so beautiful how because like spin-offs can be the same thing as we were talking about, like sequels or reboots or
Mm.
whatever. They can kind of just be like, why did this get made? Like who needed this? But I think now they're becoming kind of like integral parts to the larger story of what it was started in something else. And I think that's what makes it engaging and that's what makes it worth watching is something because I think that's what I saw too. I was like, they made a show about the sleazy lawyer guy. Who cares? And then I kept
Yeah, and in
seeing
the
it like
beginning you like love him, and you're like, oh, he's just a little trickster, but then his tricks get fucking more devious by the day, and it's like, wow, you're actually a scumbag.
I mean, yeah, and that's
Full
kind of
blown.
like the best thing Vince Gilligan did. He did it in Breaking Bad too. Like Walter White is terrible
Turned him
person.
into a monster, dude.
Yeah, awful. It kind of
Both
shows that
of
like
them.
the monster was kind of always there. It was just kind of like
Yeah, for
dormant.
both of them too, for Saul
Yeah,
and for Walter.
yeah, and that's a great thing because you like feel for these people that are terrible. And there's a
Yeah,
lot of shows that do that. Like obviously Sopranos was kind of like one of the first ones where it's like all these people are terrible, but you care and you want to know what's going
yeah.
on. And then it
Exactly.
happened
Like
with
my wife
Succession and
my wife was like falling in love. She's just like, "Oh, I want Jimmy to get away with it." And it's like he's the bad guy. Like he's fucking these people over. Like are you
he's the
like
bad
he's
guy.
scamming everybody, and like she's like, "Oh, I want him to get away with it." It's like, "Okay." I mean, so did I, to be fair. I'm just like, "Oh god, what's going to happen?" And because you see Breaking Bad, and it's like, well, he survives this situation, so how does he get out of it? It's super fun. I think it's a really killer show. We got
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
on it. That's how cool it is. And we've been talking about Vince Gilligan shows for like 10 minutes now.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's a testament. He's fresh in my mind too because I get screeners for TV series to review them, and I have
Okay.
the new Vince Gilligan show. I can't
Oh,
talk about it, but
damn.
it's cool to see Vince Gilligan still doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say
Well,
about
I'm
that.
intrigued. I'll be there, dude. Yeah, he's great. I think he's one of the great writers of the last little generation here.
100% totally agreed. Yeah. So you were talking a little bit about the new Spinal Tap and the old Spinal Tap
Yeah.
and Better Call Saul. What else have you been watching? And it doesn't have to be like recently. It could be like this year as a whole. Is there any new stuff you've been super into? Any old stuff you've been revisiting and falling back in love with? Or I love old stuff that you loved when you were younger, then you revisit and you and it didn't hit the same. Anything like
Yeah,
that
or
you've
it
been
hits
watching lately?
different and it's better because
Yes.
now you understand what's happening. And maybe you
That
watched it
too.
as a kid and you're like, oh, I missed that part.
Yep.
To be honest, my wife and I have just been chewing through like Netflix stuff. She'll just find it and we'll like watch it while we're cooking or something and eating dinner. You know what I really like? That Trainwreck series on Netflix where they talk about like all of the shit that's gone like horribly wrong, like that cruise that broke down in the middle of the
Yes.
ocean and they had to like survive for a week and a half with no power and no like running water and food, and they were getting like the helicopter and food. That was crazy. Or the one, I forget what it was, Unknown Caller. Did you read that or watch that one?
Is that the
uh,
catfish one?
I don't know if you could
Or
say
is
cat.
oh no,
It's the one that about the kids that are in like high school, and this one girl keeps getting like incredibly
yep,
harassed.
that's the one
I
I'm
don't want
talking
to give
about.
any
Yep,
spoilers, but the Unknown Caller was fucked up, dude.
yep. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's called Unknown Number: The High School Catfish. That's why I said
there you go.
catfish.
There you
But I
go.
knew it was like a really weird long name. But yeah, I
Yeah,
watched
I
that one.
couldn't
That one is
remember all that.
severely fucked up.
Super fucked
So
up.
fucked.
Yeah,
So
Netflix is
I was
hitting with
watching that
these
like
docs.
I was like, what? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. When you find out, yeah, you find out, and then it's like, oh shit. Well, you know who it is, but then there's still 45 minutes more of like the show left, and it's like, what is gonna happen here?
yeah, the way that the only thing I didn't like about that is the way some of the interviews like spun questions to the kids. I felt like was a little manipulative, and I didn't really
Dude,
like that. That made me feel
definitely,
a
and
little
the parents
gross.
too.
Yeah, but
It
that was a
definitely keeps you
wild
guessing,
watch.
like, oh, maybe it's this person, and then the next person will come in and be like, oh, it's definitely them, and then new information comes in, and you're like, well, now maybe it's this person, and then when they find out, you're just like, I wasn't any of those people. It's a mind fuck. I love a good mind fuck. Keeps you
Same.
on your toes.
Yeah, I love things that will surprise
Exactly.
you and shock you. Yeah.
My wife watches a lot of like television from Chile in Spanish and stuff, and I can't remember the name. Yeah, not Telemundo, but like, yeah, we watch a lot of like Chilean culture shows, and I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but between all those different ones, we've been, keeping pretty occupied with those.
Very, very fair. Is there any recent movie trips that have been memorable for you other than Spinal Tap, obviously?
Spinal Tap is the only one. Like, I don't think I've laughed that hard in a long time, and it was cool to watch it with these guys because they love it. And it's cool to watch it with a band because it's about a band and it's so painfully accurate that we're all just looking at each other like, yep, well, look, what's next? Oh, yep, like, there's problem with the catering. Yeah, cool, awesome. Like technical issues, logistical issues. Like we've all lived that, and it just hits so much harder when you're watching it with the band that you're in, because you're like, well, here we go, boys. This is the life we chose, and it's all going to happen. Everything we're watching right now is going to happen over the next 3 weeks. Because
Yeah.
yeah, for everybody that's watching, my advice to you is get together with your band and have like a band movie night, watch both of the Spinal Taps, and it'll be a team building exercise.
That's a really good idea. I think
Yeah.
something similar that it's like it's in that similar vein. I watched the new Naked Gun movie a few weeks
Oh,
ago,
nice. Yeah.
which is I remember watching the trailer, and obviously like Liam Neeson has been on this like weird kick for the last 10 years where he's just in basically Taken but bad for 10 years, just different
Yeah.
iterations of Taken just as terrible movies. And when they announced this, I was like, "Huh, that's interesting. Okay, weird." And I watched the trailer and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me." And I didn't watch it when it was in theaters, even though it got like rave reviews. I think it did pretty well in the box office and everything like that. And which is very rare for in 2025 for an R-rated reboot comedy to do well in the box office. And then
Right.
I had a few friends over and we were like like going through movies like, oh yeah, let's just sit down and watch a movie. And then I was like, hey, I haven't seen this, and none of us saw it, so we're like, okay, let's just pop it on. And it is honestly hilarious. It's
Awesome.
very
Yeah. I
very
wanted to
stupid.
watch that.
It's very stupid, but like
Of
purposely
course it is.
stupid.
It's supposed to
Yeah.
be.
And some of the bits don't land, but some of the bits really landed. And it's just a funny, dumb, like great turn your brain off, have some laughs with some friends kind of movie. I would definitely recommend watching it. Like that'd
Yeah.
be a good like tour movie to boot up with the rest of the dudes and
Oh
just
yeah.
sit there and laugh at how absurd and silly it is. And honestly has some pretty awesome choreographed fight sequences, which is like felt so unneeded but awesome at the same time. It was great. Liam Neeson is great. Pamela Anderson's in it also.
Nice.
It's just really funny, and it's good to watch a movie that doesn't take itself seriously at all sometimes,
Yeah,
and that movie
especially
definitely.
these days, dude. Yeah, we need a good
Yeah,
laugh. And like Liam Neeson has always been great at that. So you have certainly piqued my interest.
very cool. I did a few days ago, I went and saw there's a new horror movie in theaters called Shelby Oaks.
Huh,
And before I talk about the movie, it's important to talk about the creator of this movie because it
okay.
was made by this guy, Chris Stuckman. He's a film critic YouTuber, and he has been for like years. He's kind of like one of the OG film critic YouTube guys. It
Mm,
has like a really, really big following. And his goal was to always create movies. And then he finally had an idea and wanted to do it. He made a Kickstarter because obviously making movies are ungodly expensive. Even low budget movies are still,
right.
hundreds and thousands of dollars. So he started a Kickstarter goal for 250,000.
Mm,
And he raised like almost 1.4 million on his
Good for
Kickstarter.
him.
I think it's like one of the most successful Kickstarters like ever. And he was like shocked, blown away. And then eventually he put like a cut together because he was just going to make this movie, put it on his YouTube channel. That was his goal. He just wanted to make this movie. And then it got wind of Mike Flanagan, who has created some of the best Netflix horror series there is.
Yeah.
He made Dr. Sleep, the Stephen King adaptation. He did The Life of Chuck, which is another Stephen King adaptation. He just wrapped a Carrie series as well. Incredible writer, filmmaker, TV series maker. He got wind of it and attached himself to be an executive producer of the movie, and then got Neon to distribute the movie. So a movie that was just planned to be on a YouTube channel now gets a wide theatrical release, which
good
is
for him, man.
in itself is super, super cool. And
what is it called again?
Shelby Oaks.
Shelby Oaks.
Yeah, it takes place in Ohio, and
Oh,
the basic
scary
premise
already.
is, yeah. You're right. You're so right. The basic premise is that there's this group of 4 people, and they have a YouTube channel called the Paranormal Paranoids, and it's kind of like ghost hunters or whatever, where they go and investigate these paranormal things, and they have a YouTube channel about it. But one day the 4 go missing, and the story kind of takes place 12 years after the disappearance, where the sister of one of the group still believes that she's out there and alive. And she hasn't given up on finding her sister wherever she may be. And it's this really cool mix of like found footage, because the whole thing starts off like a documentary, like a true crime documentary. And that's how the movie starts, and it kind of gives you the lay of the land of what it is. And that in itself was super immersive, and it really sucks you right into the story of being like, okay, this is what happened. This is what's going on. Here we go. There's definitely, I don't think I loved the ending, which is fine.
It happens.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because it's like when something becomes like supernatural or any kind of like that in horror, that can either land or not land. So, but for an original horror movie created by a guy who was a YouTuber, insanely impressive. Like, the movie looks amazing. It has a great score. It has like a really dope atmosphere. It is actually genuinely creepy. There's definitely points where I was like, damn, this is like really creepy. A few of the jump scares got me, which jump scares can be cheap gets, all the time, but these are effective ones in this one for sure. But I can't wait to see what this guy does past this, because I think this year has been a really good year for original movies, especially original horror movies. But it's so cool to see someone come from like that background, like that, create this idea, get it made, make it happen. And I think it already made its budget back in its opening weekend, which is
nice. Was it out in theaters?
Yeah, it just released out in theaters last weekend. So it is really new, but that's a high recommend if you're a horror fan. Definitely check it out. It has some Blair Witch vibes. Obviously, it's not all found footage, so it's not totally that, but there's definitely parts that remind me of Blair Witch. There's parts that remind me of Hereditary.
That's one of the scariest movies.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, you already got me. You convinced me. Say
it's
less. Hereditary is
good as those. It's not as good as those, but it is still very, very good. Trying to temper expectations, I guess. But it's a super solid movie, and I just implore anyone who is a horror fan to go seek out this movie while it's in theaters and support movies like that. So more movies like that happen, because I feel like so many people complain that there's not original movies or media out there, and then there's so many options to go support that, and they don't, and they just complain about it not existing when it does exist. You got to go support this. So definitely go check out Shelby Oaks. It's super, super awesome movie.
It's the time of the year for a good horror movie too.
It's perfect. The Black Phone 2 is out, and I really want to check that out too, because I really like the first one, and the second one looks really cool, and I've heard good things about it. So that's another one I'm going to check out.
Does Ethan Hawke hit as like scary dude, a murderer?
Yeah,
kind of crazy to picture him as that role. I haven't seen it yet, but I did go to Halloween Horror Nights, and there was a lot of Black Phone stuff all over the place. So
that makes sense. Yeah, he's awesome in it too, because the first movie, there is this supernatural element, but it's kind of at arm's length. And I know the second one really dives into that supernatural element. Not to give anything away that happens in the first or the second, but he is great in it. And like that's what I thought too. I remember when the first movie came out, I was like, I was like, huh, Ethan Hawke is kind of like a slasher villain. Wild.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, because we're like from the 90s and stuff, and it's just hard to picture him as like a serious, like scary role. But if it hits, I mean, that good for him, and maybe he has that, tool under his belt. So
Yeah, he's great. I can't yeah, he's awesome. And every time I hear him interview, he seems like such a down to earth like dude. It's kind of wild.
Chad said he watched Black Phone 1 and he couldn't stop thinking about Reality Bites, which is crazy. Yeah. Have you seen that movie?
Reality Bites.
No.
Yeah, see. Chad's asking how old are you?
I'm 35.
35.
So is Mike. So
Yeah.
this is what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1994.
It's a classic coming of age movie in the 90s with Winona Ryder, Ben Stiller.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. He says that that's like a perfect coming of age movie to see for like in the 90s. Yeah. And that's like the Ethan Hawke that I picture when I think, and now he's like a slasher guy, which is crazy. But I mean, if it hits, it hits.
How you doing? Yeah, man. Fucking Ethan Hawke. I know him from Reality Bites and a bunch of other 90s stuff. And he was like a slacker kind of.
Like a stoner guy.
Cool kind of guy in the 90s. But when I watch Black Phone, honestly, that's all, like everything about his voice and everything. I can see his face. So if you don't really recognize him from a movie, the whole time I'm just thinking about this dude from Reality Bites, which is a great role that he played. So check that one out. And then maybe you'll never be able to watch Black Phone if you, again.
I guess the one thing that I remember him from the most, I think, is Training Day. Now that I look it up, because I forget he's in Training Day, because he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he kind of disappears into it.
Well, check out Reality Bites.
I will check out Reality Bites.
Yeah,
sure.
it is. It's funny because that role is like the quintessential, like cool guy, and maybe it's in the same universe, and maybe turns not so cool, and he gets hurt, and now he's the Black Phone guy, and shit gets weird.
Yeah, he's called the Grabber in it.
Oh, that's sexy. The Grabber.
Well, when you find out what he's doing, it's not that sexy.
Yeah,
he does have a shirtless scene though in it.
Oh well,
in the first one.
Yeah, does he ever reveal his face?
Yeah, you see his face in the first one a little bit. Yeah,
interesting.
He's like super. He's like super pale. He's like I think he's a magician, and he has this black van with black balloons. It's creepy.
That's creepy.
He's creepy.
I'll give it a shot. Fuck it. You talked me into it.
Similar to what you've been doing about Better Call Saul, I've been doing with this show called The Morning Show. It's on Apple TV. I talked about it a few weeks ago of how I started watching it, because it stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, and it's about this morning show that's kind of like Good Morning America. And I kind of put it off because I thought it was kind of going to be like, and I love rom-coms, so nothing against rom-coms or anything like a dramedy kind of comedic, light, bubbly kind of show.
I've never heard that.
So yeah, dramedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I like a good play on words.
Yes, I didn't invent it, so I can't take credit.
I heard it first from you.
Well, okay, then I'll take credit for it. And so I put it off because of that, and then eventually I was like, I'm just gonna start it. I love Apple TV Plus. Almost every show they put out is incredible, so I'm just gonna do it. And obviously, I was like, I grew up with Friends, so Jennifer Aniston, everything like that. So I was like, okay, let me check it out. And what I explained before is it is such a dark show, like insanely dark, because it's rooted very much in like real dark things that happen. Like the show opens, Steve Carell is also in it for the first couple seasons, and he was Jennifer Aniston's co-host in the morning show. And it starts off with him getting Me Too'd for sexual harassment, and that kind of like drives
Steve Carell.
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Steve Carell's been in some like very awesome, serious roles.
Yeah, I like him, man. I think he's cool. It's just imagine a real world where Steve Carell gets canceled.
I think that's also what adds to it, because like everyone is
right.
Like, who Steve Carell is. You know what
I
mean?
Everybody loves that dude.
Exactly. And that's how he's played in this series too, where he's like, everyone loved him, everyone loved to work with him. He was like the guy, he was like the morning show TV co-host, and then you find out the dark truth about him and what he did. That's very cool. And each season there's a time jump too, and they make you kind of catch up where everything is. And I always love stuff like that. I love that to me, that sucks you in more, because you're already familiar with these people who are like, oh, they're in a different point in their life. What has happened since then? And they fill you in with that stuff. And it's on its 4th season that's currently airing now. And I'm just amazed with how they continue to put out constant creative and awesome dramatic television. I'm in awe of it. I kind of described it as a mix of like House of Cards and Succession, and it really does feel like that. And the creator was like a producer on House of Cards, so it adds up.
Good.
I was like,
That's
where
cool.
where did these people come from that created the show? And then I went and researched and found that out. But what a great show. Aaron Pierre is in this new season, who he became kind of famous through this Netflix movie of Rebel Ridge that came out last year. It was like this action Netflix movie that's actually very, very good. And he's the star of it. And now he's going to be one of the Green Lanterns in the upcoming DC Green Lantern show. His star is rising, and I'm stoked he's in it. Greta Lee is in it, who was in Past Lives and the new Tron movie. She's incredible. And seeing Jennifer Aniston, because even after Friends, she's kind of more known for like comedies or rom-coms or stuff like that. And
She's been killing it. She really like came into her own, I think, in the last decade of what she's been working on.
And seeing her like tackle this like really complicated dramatic role is so cool, because I feel like it's like a side we really haven't seen of her fully, and it's really cool to see her like flex her acting chops. Because Reese Witherspoon, you've seen her act in serious stuff. Like obviously she's like most known for like Legally Blonde and stuff like that, but she's been in serious movies and stuff like that.
You said Reese Witherspoon, and he's like, yeah, you've never really seen her without her spoon, have you? That's all day with him, dude. All day. He just walks past and drops the gem right on him.
That's a talent.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Truly a fucking talent he has. It took me a second to figure. I was like, "What did he say?" Oh my god,
those are the best too. Where at first you're thrown off, and then you're like,
it's all fucking day, all day.
Damn, that's a talent. He should do some stand up.
Yeah, imagine.
You did bring up Halloween Horror Nights, so I want to end on you. What was your favorite part? I haven't been to Halloween Horror Nights in a few years, so I'm a little out of the loop. But what was your favorite house there that you went in?
It was really heavy with the Terrifier universe, and I'm not up to speed on it, but we actually, my wife and I and a bunch of our buddies from LA, I'm from Tampa, so I've been to the one in Orlando 20 times. This is the first time I ever went to the one in LA, and the guys from In Flames were actually in town that weekend too. And so we got like a big group together and we all went, and it was super fucking fun, because I get scared so fucking easy, but I love it. And like my wife is like a little Chilean, girl. She was like, I would walk in front and she would have her arms around me and like, it's scary, jump scare, cool. I know it's coming. But like what was really scaring me was like she would get scared and like, and like squeeze my torso off. And dude, and then I'd be like, and I was like, double scared. And then the guys in the Flames were fucking cracking up, dude. They were just like laughing at me the whole time. It was fun. But the Terrifier was really cool. There was a Fallout one, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm a big Fallout fan.
That's cool.
It wasn't as scary, but it was cool to like literally walk through a vault, and like
it was a vault.
Dog, it was sick. It was really cool. I played I played Fallout 3. I played Fallout 4 for hundreds of hours, and then I loved the TV show. I thought the TV show was super true to form and very like lore accurate, and I think they did a really good job. It wasn't like, obviously Fallout's not a horror movie, but it's dark, it's dark, and they pulled a lot of really cool references from the show and from the game that I got, that if you weren't as familiar with the lore, maybe you didn't get it, and everybody else was like, yeah, I didn't really get that one, but me, I was like, oh yeah, it's sick. They had the jumpsuits and everything, and they had the robot that was like, destroyed, and you got to walk through like the super duper mart, and it was just really immersive. You really felt like a post-apocalyptic world. And then there was another one, I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been, what's that one? The Purge world was crazy, bro. They had an old decommissioned airplane that had, I don't know, they must have like actually crashed it. They must have actually flown it, crashed it, and then transported it to the Halloween Horror Nights. It's been there forever, I guess. It's like kind of a staple, and they build around it. But you get to walk like next to like a crashed airplane, like a full-blown. Possibly. It was scary, dude. People freak out, I could see. But like for me, everybody hates fucking flying, but like to walk next to one like in that great of detail, and there's people like, trying like gangs of the purgers kind of trying to scare you. It was crazy, dude. They really do a great job of like immersing the audience in like whatever universe they're trying to showcase, which I thought it was killer. Halloween Horror Nights in LA was sick.
Yeah, I've only been to the one in Florida because usually we'll like tack it on if we do, because we like to go vacation. We'll go to Universal and Disney, and sometimes we'll tack on the Hollywood Horror Nights and stuff too. My wife is the same exact way because I'll always be wearing like a backpack or something, and she'll be like holding onto the backpack for dear life, like 2 inches behind me.
And then when they get scared, they're like,
yeah, and you're like, yep.
It just amplifies. It's like, I scared, scared.
As you're describing it, I'm like, I know this feeling also well, all too well.
Yeah, a little Halloween Horror Nights PTSD.
Yeah, because I mean that's what the houses are predicated on jump scares. Like that's all they are. They're all just jump scares. But they build the tension because a jump scare is going to get you almost every time because you can't help being surprised by something. Even if you see it coming, it's the shock of it happening that you're like, oh.
They're always projecting like sounds of other people screaming, which I don't remember. There's just constantly like there's a tape in the background of just like people like with like grotesque screams, like terrified, and that kind of puts you on edge. And then like they do this thing, I think, where they have like a sheet of aluminum that they stomp on, so it's like it's not like they're just jumping out at you because that only goes so far, but like the percussiveness and the sharp sound and like the flashing strobe, it's like I know, okay, I'm gonna turn the corner, it's real dark in here, I wonder what's gonna happen, there's 4 doors, oops, 2 people jump out of 2 of them, like but like with all those other added elements, it's like that's how they get it.
Yeah, every time. The creepiest one I did, they had an Us house like right after Us came out, the Jordan Peele movie, and there was one where it was a room, and you know how they mix in like actors with like pretty
props.
Good like mannequins and props and stuff. And there was one where it was an empty room, and I think it's like the locker room from when you go in the basement in the movie Us. And there was someone sitting with the back facing, and I was like, oh, that's a mannequin. And then it slowly turned around. I was like, oh my God, that's so creepy. And then the end is all the people in the red jumpsuits, and they're mixed with people and like mannequins, and you can't tell. And there's just like 2 lines of it, and you're going down the middle, and you're just like, oh, and that's the end of it. You're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was so good.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I think Jordan Peele's done a really great job with all of his horror. I want to see that one that he just did. I don't know if it's out yet or it's coming out soon, but Him. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't seen one either. I know he produced it. He didn't like direct it or write it or anything. He's like attached to a name, and I've heard mixed things, but I still want to see it.
I want to see it too because I'm a big football fan, and I think it's pretty crazy. It's like a football player that sells his soul to the devil to win. It looked pretty cool in the trailers I saw, and they're promoting it really hard all around LA. So kind of piqued my interest a bit. And I love Jordan Peele, so I like what he's done. I like what he did with the Twilight Zone. I love it, actually. He really did a great job with that.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so cool.
And I love Key and Peele, dude. That's some of the funniest shit. Like, dude, I could quote that all day.
The one that always sticks in my mind forever is the bitch one. And I said,
what was that one? Nothing. I like the one where they're catcalling. That's probably my favorite one ever. When they're like Southern like catcalling, and he's like, Miss Daisy, you smell like a fresh rain and just as refreshing or whatever. And he's like, that ass though. I can't go much further than that on this podcast, I'm sure, because he says some quite non-savory things, but fuck, dude, they are so funny, dude.
So funny. And it's so cool to see them kind of both flourish in their own things. Like obviously Jordan Peele is what, and Keegan-Michael Key is still doing the acting thing and a ton of stuff. He's everywhere. You see him just pop up in the most random things. You're like, oh.
Yeah, there he is. It's hard to see him do anything serious because it's, like, kind of like Eric Andre is the same way. He's starting to do a lot of acting and stuff. I thought he was hilarious in what is it? Gemstones?
Oh, Righteous Gemstones?
Righteous Gemstones. Yeah. He's hilarious. Eric Andre is a fucking nut.
Yeah, he is so funny. He was also involved in a really good, when Jackass did that movie a few years ago, which honestly was absurdly hilarious. I could not believe how funny it was seeing a Jackass movie how many years later. It came out a number of years at this point. I think like 5 years, maybe longer. But Jackass Forever, I think is what it was called. Great watch if you need a good laugh. That's also another good laugh one. But he was in that too. Obviously as himself, everyone's themselves in it. He was in that, in this like crazy skit that I think was a total joke on MGK, which was really funny.
There you go. I like it already.
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny. Yeah, go check out Jackass Forever too. That's another good one. They were supposed to bring back the TV show.
Oh God, how are you gonna have that in 2025, dude? That doesn't work the same.
Dude, I thought the movie would be so stupid, and it was insanely funny. I saw it in theaters with a group of friends, and I could not believe how much I was laughing. I could not believe it. Like, seriously, could not believe how funny it was. And seeing how old these guys are and the dumb shit they're still doing. I mean, I think it ends with Johnny Knoxville going in the hospital. So
big surprise.
Yeah, he like broke his collarbone or something because he rode like a fucking bull or some shit. Like, what the fuck do you think was gonna happen, dude? You're like 50 years old.
Classic.
Yeah, crazy. Absolutely insane. But Mike, thank you so much for doing this, man. This is really awesome chatting with you.
Yeah, man, good chatting with you. And I'm gonna check out the what was that horror movie you said again? From
Shelby
Ohio?
Oaks.
Shelby Oaks. I keep remembering Sherman Oaks because that's a place in LA that it's Shelby Oaks.
Yeah, Chris Stuckman. Also, he's the guy who made it. If you Google him, a ton of stuff will come up. He's obviously doing a lot of press for that right now too. Before we get out of here, please let the people know what CKY is going on, where they can find you.
Well, we have a brand new single out. It's called Can't Stop Running. It's everywhere you can listen to music. There's a music video for Can't Stop Running. It's going to release on Halloween. So you definitely got to check that out. We're about to hit the road in the UK for the next 3 weeks. So if you're watching from the UK, get your ass to a show. And yeah, next up, we've got Australia in January. And I guess I can say it now because it just announced, but we'll see you at Sonic Temple in Ohio in 2026. So see you guys there.
Oh yeah, very awesome. I will link all the links for CKY down below. If you live under a rock and can't find them for some reason, if you want to support the podcast, you can go to metalcorenerds.com. All our links are right there in one easy place. And if you want to follow me on my personal account, it's just at SeanXMod, Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, see you later, nerds.
See ya.